Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Got a brand new video for you today, and it's actually one of my favourite topics, which is camera bags. Now this is the PGYTech OneMo 2 backpack in the 35 litre variant. Full disclosure, PGYTech did send me this to review, but the first time they'll be seeing the video is when you see the video, and all opinions are my own. And if you've seen previous videos of mine, you know I don't go easy on people that send me stuff. I'll still be going through the positives and negatives of this bag. Before we get into the actual bag, I just wanted to go into some backstory. I originally supported the OG OneMo backpack on Kickstarter, but after using it for a couple of shoots, I just realised it wasn't for me. It didn't have the pockets that I needed, and it didn't have any sort of top access. If I'm using a 20 litre bag, for me, I want some sort of top access like the Peter McKinnon bag or the Peak Design bag, just because then I can keep easy access stuff in the top. Whereas the OneMo backpack didn't have that, and that kind of put me off. When they come out with the new generations, I still don't think the 20 litre has the top access, but the 35 litre, which is this one, does. Another reason why I opted for the 35 litre was because I wanted to approach this from a professional's perspective. I think this kind of bag of this size is more suited to either someone that's travelling, to be fair, or professionals like me. I've just bought a load of gear for weddings and I wanted to fit it all in one backpack. My Pro Tactic 450 AW was kind of getting packed out, so I wanted to try something else, and this has been pretty much perfect for that need. So let's get into it now. The first thing you notice, which is a really big deal to me, is this bag stands up on its own pretty consistently as well, and on rough terrain it stands up on its own. Obviously I've got it pretty much full now with a couple of cameras and lenses that I'm using to film this video, but even empty or sort of half loaded, it will stand up on its own. I guess the only time it wouldn't is if you've got this front bit expanded and you've got lots in there. But that's a huge thing for me. I don't know why, when you put your bag down, you just want it to stand there. You don't want to have to sort of lay it down or lean it on something. So that's a big deal to me. Let's get into sort of the outside. This material, it just feels like a sort of, feels similar to the Pete McKinnon bag, like a bit of a sort of tarpaulin style material. It feels very durable. I feel like it's going to last quite a long time. And if the original OneMo backpack is anything to go by, I know people have been using that for years and it's definitely lasted a while. So that material is sort of all around. And then you've got some front access points, not access points, sort of hook points on the front there to hook any accessories to. And that is a sort of similar theme throughout this bag as well. In terms of the zippers on this bag are also smooth. They do seem a bit flimsy, to be honest, when you first get to using them, but I imagine they're probably not as flimsy as they seem, but without fail, they're pretty smooth. I haven't had any problems with the zippers at all. You'll also notice at the top here, there's a little area for the zipper to sort of tuck into, but because this is so hard to fold, you can't really tuck it in there as well as you'd hope. So that's meant to be a sort of security measure, so you can tuck the zipper in so that nobody can open it. But honestly, that's a lot of faff, and it takes a long time to sort of squeeze these zippers enough to get them in there. So I probably won't be doing that much myself. And if aesthetics are important to you, personally, I think the bag has quite a good look about it. It's not quite as tactical as the Pro Tactic. It has kind of that sort of Peter McKinnon feel about it. A little bit techie, but doesn't really scream camera bag. So starting on the left side of the bag then, and at the bottom we have the sort of water bottle or tripod holder. It is gusseted there, quite a lot of stretch on it, so you can pretty much fit quite a lot of tripods or water bottles in there, and you've got a little strap there to keep it in place as well. On this side the strap is removable, so you can just unhook that, but on this side here the strap is not removable, so you've either got to let it dangling or you've just got to hook it onto here. It's a bit disappointing that it's not removable, to be honest with you. It'd be nice to just take this off and put it in the pocket somewhere if it's not needed. But now it just sort of hangs around here, which is a little bit annoying. So if I take this tripod out and put it to the side, we'll get into our first pocket here. And this pocket has a lot of organisation. So if I open that up there, you've got a sort of mesh sort of pocket here, which I've got a little few things in, like electrical tape and some sensor cleaning stuff. And then you've got some little hooks here which you can put your cables in. In this case, what I've sort of done is squished this lens blower style thing into the hook, and that sort of stays there. And then you've got a little zip pocket inside there as well. One thing about this pocket is there is a lot of different organisational options here, but there's not actually a lot of expandability. So what you'll find is you can cram a lot in here, but it becomes quite difficult to close the zip because the pocket doesn't expand out as much as it probably could, to be honest, given the amount of organisation. Getting onto the top then, and you'll see on the 35-litre bag there is a top access. So you can sort of zip that open and have access to your camera, whatever you've got in there. At the moment I don't have anything in there, to be honest, but I usually keep batteries in this section. Because I'm using it for professional use, I don't really need really quick access to my camera. So what I'm trying to do at the moment is just use the top bit for batteries and little things I need quick access to. Also on the inside of that top pocket, you've got another zip pocket, which I've got a small rig sort of multi-tool thing. I'm going to put that back in. And I also keep sort of dead batteries in here as well, just so I can separate the dead batteries from the ones that are good. You'll also notice on the top some latch points as well, so you can attach, I'm not really sure what you would attach to the top, to be honest, but these latch points are everywhere. So you can put a tripod or a jacket or anything, pretty much anywhere on this bag, to be honest. The top pocket is really nice to have. Like I said, it was probably one of my deal breakers from the old OneMo backpack, but it is quite a small top pocket. I don't know, it kind of opens like a flap, like what you'd usually see on a side access pocket. It's just enough to get a camera out, but I don't know if I'm traveling with this whether I'd want to put everyday essentials in there, because sometimes I'd be struggling to get them out. Moving on to the other side of the backpack then, and we'll see we have two pockets here. So if I get into the top one first, this is a similar one to the other side, so you've got, except this time you've got one big zipper mesh pocket here. I'll keep my AAA batteries in here, just because it's quite a nice place to access them. And then you've got some sort of stretchy material here in some little pockets. Again, quite a lot of really good organisation, a really helpful organisation. But actually when you get around to using it, you can't put a lot in there just because the pocket doesn't expand again as much as it could. And then on the bottom of this side of the bag, we have the quick access compartment. So usually in this kind of bag, for me, having side access is quite important, but where this is a 35-litre bag, I'm probably not going to be taking this out a lot on times where I really need quick access. For me, this bag is all about taking to weddings and corporate events and things like that, at which point I'll probably put the bag in the corner and sort everything out then. But if you are traveling with this, then the side access can be really helpful. And it's quite a generously sized side access as well. That's a tongue twister. You can sort of put a camera in here, which is what I do, and then you've got a lens here. So you've pretty much got a camera and a lens in one side, a lens in one side. So you can actually, so you have access to quite a lot through your side access compartment. And then this also has a little zipper on the inside. If I open that, it has that PGYTech battery organizer style thing. So basically the idea is you put your batteries in this thing, and if they're empty you can switch it over to red, but if they're full batteries you can switch this over to green. This is quite a cool idea, to be fair, but I've got like 8 or 9 batteries, so then there's only 3 of these slots. So for me, not very useful, but again, if you are traveling and you're not going to be using a hell of a lot of batteries, that's a really cool idea to have that in there. And this zipper thing is padded as well, so it's not going to be sort of hitting against your cameras or your lenses, which I think, you know, other backpack companies can probably take note of. So on the bottom of the bag here we have 4 more leash points. Say you wanted to put a tripod on the bottom and a water bottle in the side, you could do that. And it's made of a kind of different material at the bottom. It seems a bit more durable, it's a bit thicker, and that's quite interesting to me because for me this bag is designed to put on its front facing down, but they've actually decided to use the harder material on the bottom. So I'm not sure how much difference that will make, but it's something to take a note. So let's get onto the back of the bag then, and you've got a handle up the top here and a handle on the side, which is quite handy if you're just trying to sort of hold it, chuck it into a car or something like that. Having 2 handles is really nice. Although the handles aren't as thick as they probably could be. Something like the Peter McKinnon just has really thick cushioning handles, which are, you know, a pleasure to use sort of thing. You've got really nice back cushioning on the back panel here. It really is extremely comfortable bag, to be honest. Even at 35 litres, kind of makes it feel like it's just sort of air, which is a really nice touch. And the same is kind of true with the straps. They're not as thick as maybe they could be, but they're certainly better than some rival bags that have thinner straps. And I think even fully loaded, this would stay comfortable for quite a while because the straps are quite nice on this bag. There's actually a bit more to unpack with the straps here. So you'll see on the right strap, we have a kind of sort of stretchy, meshy zip-up pocket, which is useful to put your phone in, or maybe you could clip a microphone to it or something if you're recording content. But that's quite a nice little stretchy bag, and it does fit my iPhone 14 Pro in as well, so maybe a good place to put that kind of thing. So moving on to the left strap then, and you'll see there's a little space at the bottom for PGYTech's Beetle clip. What this basically does is allow you to attach a camera onto your bag, so you can sort of have it hanging off of your chest. So I've got the base plate on the bottom of my Fuji X100V here, and you can just sort of slide it in like that, and that is fully locked in then. So that's just going to hang off of your chest, which makes it really easy to access your camera on the go without having to sort of swing the bag around and use the side access. It's a really nice clip, to be honest. I've been using competitor ones for a while, and this one just has a bit of a different sort of feel to it. But the main thing is, when you've got the camera in there, it doesn't sort of wobble around. Ones by sort of the competitors, they sort of wobble around in there. Still very secure, but this sort of feels a little bit sort of different in the way it's built because the camera doesn't wobble around while it's in there. And another thing to note on this strap is you've got the sort of sternum strap here, which is removable, so you can take it off if you don't end up using it. Personally, I think on a 35 litre bag, it's essential that they include it. But for me, I'm only transporting this from the car, say, to the building that I've parked up near. So for me, I won't be using it too much, to be honest. The last thing to note about the straps is these things at the top. So these are load lifters. And again, on a 35 litre bag that you can store so much equipment in, and then you can also expand it and store more stuff in it, load lifters are a really good touch, to be honest. Basically what they do is they spread the weight throughout your back. You can sort of tighten these or loosen these, just so that the weight is sort of not on your lower back or on your shoulders too much. It sort of spreads the weight, and it makes it really easier. It makes it much easier to carry a heavier bag. And the last thing that's included is a waist strap, which I removed straight away because I won't be using this bag on long trips that I'm walking around with, but it's really nice they included it with this bag. Okay, so let's get into the meat and potatoes of this bag now. The inside. So if I open that up, this is most of the gear I'm using for weddings. I've obviously got a camera here and a camera up there with some lenses and some things like that out. But this is basically the gist of it. I might do a what's in my camera bag for my corporate shoots and wedding shoots. I probably won't, but the thought is there anyway. But as you can see, I've got my gear all divided up nicely, and part of a huge positive of this bag is they include so many dividers. Now, other camera bags can be really stingy with the amount of dividers they include, so you're really limited into how to organise your gear. Whereas PGYTech, it feels like they've just crammed a load of dividers into the bag and just let you do what you want with it, and I really appreciate that. The inside zipper from that top pocket is visible also, so you can get into that, and I can access my small rig tool that I showed you earlier. Something really clever about this bag that I wanted to draw attention to is these sort of dividers that go all the way along the side here. I have these sort of butterfly Velcro style things. It doesn't have Velcro all the way down, so it only sticks at the top. And what this means is that when you have side access, sometimes you have side access and you want to put a Velcro divider across the side access. Whenever you want to access that side access, you then have to sort of rip the Velcro off. But in this case, it sort of leaves a gap with no Velcro, so you can still access the side access bit without having to rip the Velcro off. How many times can you say side access in one sentence? But in my opinion, there's two really important things about this bag, and the first one is the depth of it. Now, a couple of weeks ago, or a few weeks ago now, I reviewed the Peter McKinnon travel backpack, so I think it's the 45 litre backpack, and it could fit a lot in it, but where it wasn't actually that deep, it couldn't fit a lot of camera equipment in it, just because you were having to lay lenses on the side and stuff. But this bag can actually fit like a Sigma 24-70 standing up in it, which means what you get is just more camera equipment can fit in here because you can have stuff standing up. Again, PGYTech say this is a 35 litre bag, but in the actual camera compartment itself, I can hold more than I could in the Peter McKinnon 45 litre bag. This is really important for me because now I can hold more gear in a slightly smaller profile than the Peter McKinnon bag, but I can still expand the front bit, which I'll get into in a second, if I want more space to carry clothes or a gimbal. The other important thing, at least for me, is the rigid sides. So this sort of frame is quite rigid and it's not sort of flopping anywhere. The problem with my Pro Tactic 450 was that when I started cramming it with gear, the sides would just sort of flop down, and then every time I'd zip it up, I'd have to do one of these where I sort of hug it closed and zip it up, which was super annoying, but these have some really rigid sides, so it keeps its shape really well. And a sneaky little addition is there's also a sort of air tag section under here. So you can see a label there saying that an air tag should go in there. So the idea is you just sort of slip it underneath the material there, and then you cut that so that no one can tell it's there. So that's a really handy little thing to have. They're coming out of most bags now, these air tag things, but this is particularly hidden. It's not just put in a pocket somewhere that someone could easily find. Finally, on the back panel here, you've got a sort of laptop and tablet holders, which is just held in by this sort of stretchy string kind of thing. So you pull that off, you can put your laptop in there. Pretty sure it can hold a 16-inch, and then an iPad or something else in this one here. One of the things I'm not so keen on in this bag is the fact that there's no pockets on here. Usually on sort of camera bags, you would get a couple of zip pockets with like mesh so you can put your batteries and things in here. That would give you a lot more options, particularly for me. I'm keeping my batteries in this top section here, so I'm wasting the whole section of the actual bag for little accessories, whereas they could include a zip pocket here, so you can put all those little accessories in here, which would free up room in the actual space of the bag. But the reason I don't mind this too much is the fact that they've included those sort of side pockets that we went into earlier. So I've managed to put everything that I'd usually put in these zip pockets in the side pockets instead. And now's probably a good time to mention what comes with it, which is this side bag here. This side bag is kind of meant to go inside of the big bag, but again, where I'll be using it for sort of bigger jobs, I just wanted to fit as much gear in there as possible. So for now, I've taken the side bag out. But this is actually a really good bag, to be honest, on its own. And it's included in the package as well. So hats off for PGYTech for including all the dividers, including the side bag, the waist strap. There's pretty much nothing you need to buy on top of what the bag already comes with. So a quick overview of the side bag then. It's pretty much the same material as what you're seeing on the original backpack, which is pretty good. You've got a removable strap, which you can sort of clip off at the back. The strap is feeling kind of weird in comparison to the straps on the bag. These definitely feel more high quality. This feels maybe a little rushed. It's almost like seatbelt material cushioned in the middle, if that makes sense. Like 2 layers of seatbelt material with something cushioned in the middle. I think it's probably enough, to be fair, and probably remains comfortable with the amount you can actually fit in this bag. But it's kind of weird that they opted for a different material to what you get in the actual backpack itself. You've also got a handle at the back, which I guess could act as a luggage pass-through, so that would be kind of nice. And then you've got the zip pocket at the top, which I guess you could put your phone or just little items like batteries and things in if you wanted to keep that separate. And then there's quite a few zippers on this thing, but if I open up the main zipper, you'll see inside, just like any other bag, we've just got the dividers. These dividers are pretty cool because they do sort of bend and fold in every way that you can want them to. And they can also fit in the main bag as well if you didn't want to use them for the side bag, which again is quite nice. So plenty of ways to organize this. And again, they've just included so many dividers that you're spoiled for choice here. And then on the lid, they've got a couple of mesh pockets here, which is sort of covered by this. There's no zip or anything, but it's covered anyway. So you can put sort of little knickknacks and whatever in there. And then comes the really cool feature about this bag, which is, if I can find the other zipper, you can unzip this other zipper and actually expand the bag so it's a little bit taller, and you can probably fit like a bit of a longer lens in there if you wanted to, and just cram it with more gear. Again, like it's probably not meant to be crammed with tons of gear, but the fact that you can expand it means it's actually useful for a lot more than it originally was in its normal state. So yeah, that's quite a cool feature, to be honest. For me, again, I mainly wanted just a backpack. I don't know if I'll end up using this a lot, but I do think it's amazing that they've included this in the package. Again, the fact that they include everything, I do think this actually be useful for a lot of people. Let's say you want to take the backpack out traveling, you've got all your clothes in there, loads of camera gear, toiletries, everything like that. When you got to the hotel room, you don't want to take this backpack out, so you just take this out of it, put your camera gear in, and you can go out with this. And I do think as a combo for like traveling and content creation and stuff, they work really well. But for me, as a videographer, for weddings and corporate events and stuff, I probably wouldn't end up using this and would just take the big bag itself. And the final thing I wanted to talk about on this bag is the expansion that you get on the front. So you've got some zippers at the bottom here, and if I just sort of open them up, they can often get stuck on this like tripod strap that I mentioned earlier that's non-removable, so that's something to bear in mind as well. So if I open that sort of round there and to the bottom there, you'll see that you can sort of expand it into this V shape, and then you get a little bit more room for gear. So if I open this zip pocket, which is on this side, so inside the expansion we've got a couple of mesh pockets here which I've got a little gimbal handle there and a microphone cover style thing. And then you've also got a dedicated slot for a gimbal, and even my RS3 Pro fits in there really well, which is probably one of the biggest gimbals that you can get at our level. Fits in there really well, and you can just put all the accessories in this little mesh pocket. So really like this space for the gimbal. And then on the front side, you've got this sort of extra zipper pocket, which usually contains all of the straps that you're going to need. Again, they include all the straps in there. So this is if you want to put your tripod on the bottom of the bag to those leash points, or a jacket on the top, or anything like that. And you've also got the rain cover in there as well, which again is included when you buy the bag. So at the moment I've got the expansion unzipped in the sort of V shape, but you can actually carry it on all the way round. And then if I do the bag up, you can sort of see there the amount of extra space that this expansion is giving you. It's sort of a packing cube in and of itself. You can put clothes in there and sort of compress it down a little bit more. So that gives you, I think, maybe an extra 10 litres of space. I'll put it up here on the screen if that is wrong. But yeah, so lots of extra space in here, whether you wanted to carry, you know, your gimbal with you, or if you're traveling, if you wanted to carry clothes and toiletries and stuff in here, and then carry the camera equipment in the main compartment. You can do all of that, which is really nice. The one thing that I am not too keen on about this front expansion is the fact that on the Peter McKinnon travel bag, it had the similar expansion, except you could access the pockets inside without having to expand the front. Whereas if you wanted to use the pockets inside this expansion, to access it, you'd have to expand it using one zipper and then open it using another zipper, or just keep it expanded, which obviously makes the profile slightly bigger, to be honest. Which, you know, it's not a deal breaker, but I did really enjoy using those sort of quick access pockets on the Peter McKinnon travel bag. So on the next iteration, I really think that they should make the pockets on the inside accessible through here without having to expand the expansion section. Okay, so that's a not so quick look at all the features and pockets on this bag. So quick verdict on this now, and I'm not just saying this, I will be definitely using this for pretty much every shoot I do from now on. It's going to replace my Pro Tactic 450AW. Some of the pros of this bag: the material is really good, it feels really high quality, it's deep enough that you can fit some sort of zoom lenses in there standing up, so you actually end up being able to fit a lot more gear in a bag like this. The zippers are really nice to use, the pockets are really well thought out. Again, they could probably do a bit more expansion, but the fact that we've got pockets on the side for quick access to little items is also quite nice. And also the access is well thought out as well, at least on the 35 litre bag, because we've got quick access on the side, and then we've got an access pocket on the top. And then for the times where we just want access to all of our gear, we can put it on the front and open the whole thing up. The expandability probably isn't something that I would use quite a lot, but for someone who's traveling a lot and wants to pack extra clothes or maybe a gimbal in there, it's definitely sort of a really nice solution for that. And finally, just the fact that everything's included. You get this bag and you get the side bag with it, which is an amazing little addition. You get the straps that you can attach everything to. You get a waist strap, your sternum strap. You can just buy, and you get as many sort of dividers as you'll ever need. So you can just buy this one sort of product and get everything you need for your bag solution, which I'm not sure how good a business model this is for them, given that most other manufacturers are now charging extra for all the little bits and accessories to go with it. But for the consumer and for us, it's a big win. So yeah, that's been the PGYTech OneMo 2 backpack in the 35 litre. Definitely going to be my backpack going forward for weddings and corporate events and things like that, but I will still keep my Peter McKinnon 25 litre backpack for my smaller things where I'm just carrying like a camera and a lens or a bit of content creation or something like that. If you've got any questions at all on this backpack, leave them down below in the comment section. If you liked this video or found it helpful, hit the thumbs up button and subscribe for more videos like this on Tech for Creatives. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.